all about Symbian and mobile industry review.
So we're here at the Sony Ericsson event, and standing next to me I've got Stefan Constantinescu from intomobile.com, and we're going to ask him his opinion on what he thinks of the new Sony Ericsson Fab 5. So Stefan, take it away.
Well, let's see. First we have the Sony Ericsson Vivaz, which was announced, what was it, January 22nd? And yes, it was impressive because it's the first continuous autofocus smartphone, but at the same time, I personally think it's hideous. So when they announced the Vivaz Pro, which is basically the Vivaz with a keyboard, it's like, yeah, it's hideous, but useful hideous, which I'm still not going to own it. Something that really disappointed me during this entire presentation was they did not mention price points at all. So these things could cost 200 euros, they could cost 600 euros. We have no idea where to place this hype. You know, it's similar to the iPad. If the iPad cost 300 euros, the world would be going insane. If it cost 800, they'd be going mad too. What were the other ones? There was the X10. Again, it's an old phone. The X10 with a keyboard, the X10 Pro. Android with a keyboard, buy a Droid, buy a, what's it called? Motorola Milestone in Europe. Then you have the small one, and the funny thing is, I got the worst seats in the house during this presentation. I walked in late because I was chatting with a few friends of mine, and I ended up sitting in the last row. Guess who I was sitting right next to? The head of Sony Ericsson marketing for Spain. So while Mark Stringer or Howard Stringer was up there speaking, I was playing with that thing for about a good half an hour. And my impressions are it's too tiny. It really is. And the price point that I was told, 400 euros. 400 euros for that tiny little phone is a hard sell, especially since Samsung is competing in the low-end space. Yes, Sony Ericsson has Android, Samsung is a feature phone operating system, but people who buy small phones like that, they don't care about that. They just care about the size and dimensions, the look, the color, the feel. So overall, I walked away from this press event highly unimpressed. I'm looking forward to the Nokia event tomorrow, the Microsoft event tomorrow, and that's it. But I'm really hoping I see something that blows my mind, because right now I'm sad.
So we're going to get more Stefan tomorrow, but while we've got him here, I want him to ask him about the Sony Ericsson platform strategy. We've got Windows Mobile, Android and Symbian, and there were some clues as to which they favoured in there. So what did you make of that? Do you think that's realistic to do 3 platforms from one company that's a relatively small market share compared to the big guys?
Well, realistically speaking, this is already happening with HTC. They're porting their Sense UI to Android and Windows Mobile, and then with Samsung, they're porting their Touch UI operating system to their proprietary platforms, to Windows Mobile, to Android, to everything, even to Symbian. So for Sony Ericsson to say, hey, we want to do the same thing too, except we're going to be a year late after everyone else, and it's just a company following a company, and they'll probably succeed. It'll be a waste of engineering and it won't move the industry any forward, but hey, it's marketing.
And great. And what do you make of the Sony Ericsson co-creation concept?
It's bullshit.
Mark, for the whole event?
I would give the whole event probably a 3 out of 10 because I was laughing during half of them. We will make clear, even more crystal clear. How is that possible? Please explain to me, how is that possible? I mean, lots of fluff, no price points, highly disappointed.
Thank you, Stefan, as ever, for your unique perspective. And where can we find you, Stefan, on Twitter and on the web?
Well, I blog at intomobile.com, that's INTO, mobile.com, and on Twitter I am at GJCAG. And I know that sounds confusing, but it's the initials for Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus. Basically, if you've seen Caligula in the 70s, it was a movie made by Penthouse. It was absolutely amazing, so I chose that as my role model.
Stay tuned for more and all about Symbian and mobile industry review.